The first tremor of dread struck Elara, even before the morning light fully pierced the grimy panes of the old Victorian house on the edge of Oakhaven. A lean age clung to her bones, a cold hand squeezing her gut, a stark contrast to the cloying warmth of the kitchen where her mother, Isobel, hovered. Isobel, with eyes that held the depth of ancient shadows and a smile that never quite reached them, placed a steaming mug before Elara. The aroma was metallic, strangely invigorating, yet unsettling. "Drink, darling," Isobel purred, her voice a silken thread woven with an undercurrent of something sharp, something predatory. "You need your strength. Don't worry, no one will hurt you. And if anyone tries, they'll regret it, bitterly." A shiver, colder than the morning air, traced Elara's spine. She swallowed, the strange liquid coating her throat, warm and thick. The unsettling feeling of being watched intensified as Elara stepped out into the perpetually mist-shrouded cobbled streets of Oakhaven. The town, known for its hushed secrets and ancient lineages, seemed to press in on her. Every shadow felt alive, every whisper of wind carried a phantom sigh. She clutched her worn satchel, a sense of vulnerable exposure prickling her skin. The town's few inhabitants, mostly weathered, gaunt figures, seemed to watch her with an unnerving stillness. Old Mrs. Babel, tending her wilting graveyard of a garden, paused, her gaze piercing, impossibly sharp for a woman her age. A sleek, obsidian black cat, eyes like twin embers, darted from a crumbling wall, its gaze fixed solely on Elara, before vanishing into the gloom. Two hulking figures, their faces obscured by the brims of their caps, loitered near the forgotten church, their eyes following her with an unnerving persistence. Elara quickened her pace, her heart hammering a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She veered into a narrow, shadowed alleyway that snaked behind the crumbling stone edifices. Jude's, a shortcut she often took, now suddenly filled with a suffocating dread. The air grew thick, staying in, as if the very darkness had weight. The two figures from the church entrance were there, blocking her path, their grim faces emerging from the gloom. They weren't vagrants. They were something far more menacing, their eyes glinting with a feral hunger. A third emerged from the depths of the alley, cutting off a retreat. "Lost little bird," one sneered, his breath hot and foul. A neck surged. A hand clamped over her mouth. Another roughly seized her arm, dragging her deeper into the oppressive shadows. She fought, kicked, a desperate scream lodging in her throat. But they were too strong, their grip like iron vices. A wave of cold despair washed over her. Then, a sudden, searing surge of heat, a strange, terrifying power coursing through her veins, unbidden, untamed. The next sensation was a dizzying rush, a crimson haze swirling behind her eyes. When the haze cleared, Elara was standing alone, her hands trembling, coated in something slick and warm. The silence was profound, broken only by the distant, mournful chime of the decaying church bell. Before her, sprawled unnaturally on the slick cobblestones, were the three men. Their bodies were grotesque, twisted, their faces frozen in expressions of absolute terror. But it was not just their stillness that shocked her. Their skin was an ashen gray, shriveled, and a disturbing, dark stain spread beneath each one, the color of congealed blood, but impossibly vast, as if drained from within. A primal, instinctual terror seized her. What had happened? What had she done? Detective Thorne, a man whose weary eyes had seen too much of Oakhaven's quiet horrors, questioned her in the stark, lamplit parlor. The air was heavy with the scent of disinfectant and unspoken dread. "You saw nothing, Miss Elara," he pressed, his voice low, probing. "Only shadows," she whispered, her voice reedy, barely her own. They just fell." She avoided his gaze, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, still feeling the phantom stickiness, the lingering chill of the alley. Thorne studied her, his expression unreadable, before sighing and leaving, the silence he left behind more damning than any accusation. Isobel was waiting when Elara finally stumbled back into the oppressive warmth of their home. Her mother's eyes, usually deep and unreadable, now held an unnerving clarity, a knowing glint. She took Elara's trembling hands, her touch unnervingly cool, almost cold. "You're home," Isobel murmured, her gaze fixed on Elara's palms. It was then Elara saw it. Traces of a dark, rusty crimson beneath Isobel's fingernails, drying on the delicate veins of her wrists. A sickening realization began to unfurl within her. "Mother, what?" "Don't worry, darling," Isobel whispered, her voice dropping to a low, intimate hum that resonated deep within Elara's bones. "I told you no one would hurt you." She smiled then, a wide, unnatural display of pearly white teeth that seemed a shade too long, too sharp. "You've always been so delicate, my little fledgling. So vulnerable. But I couldn't protect you forever from everything. Not directly." Isobel's grip tightened, her eyes burning into Elara's. "That morning, in your breakfast, it wasn't just a tonic. It was my blood. A little at a time, for years, to strengthen you, to prepare you." The words hung in the air, cold, sharp. "We are ancient, Elara, born of shadow and thirst. I have walked this earth for centuries, and my blood flows in your veins. Every threat, every predator that has ever dared touch you, I have dealt with them. Silently. Efficiently. The Ellie, you felt it, didn't you? The awakening. The hunger. You are growing, my dear. Becoming what you truly are." A faint, chilling smile touched Isobel's lips. Her features began to blur, to stretch, her eyes elongating, darkening to pools of pure midnight. Her back arched, her shoulders contorting, and with a horrifying, tearing sound, vast, leathery wings black as a raven's shroud unfurled from her spine, brushing against the ceiling. Her body seemed to shrink, coalesce, transforming into a monstrous, winged silhouette. "The world is full of hungry things," Elara, a voice, now a raspy, echoing whisper, seemed to emanate from the rapidly shrinking form. "But none so hungry as us. Embrace it. Don't worry." With a sudden, powerful beat of leathery wings, the creature that was once Isobel vanished through the open window, swallowed by the brooding Oakhaven night, leaving behind only the faintest scent of old blood and ozone. Elara stood alone in the silence, the echo of her mother's transformation still reverberating in the very marrow of her bones. A profound, edging hunger began to gnaw her, a searing thirst that went deeper than any parched throat. It was a craving not for water, nor food, but for something vital, something warm and pulsing. She stumbled to the tarnished mirror in the hallway, her reflection a pale, trembling phantom in the dim light. Her eyes, once a familiar hazel, now shimmered with an unholy, vibrant crimson. They pulsed with an unnatural light, reflecting not just the room, but the ancient, predatory hunger that had just been fully unleashed within her. A faint, knowing smile, chillingly similar to her mother's, stretched her lips. The girl she was gone. Only the thirst remained, and the unsettling whisper of a promise. "Don't worry.